Detective Smith was called to investigate a burglary at the city's museum. A priceless diamond disappeared and the thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Detective Smith gathered 3 suspects: the security guard, the museum's curator, and a visitor. The security guard said he only left his post during lunchtime, and he could swear that the diamond still wasn't missing at that time. The museum curator spent the day guiding a tour of the museum for a foreign group. They came to see the diamond at the beginning of the tour, and it was still shining bright in its place. The visitors said he only popped in for a quick visit and didn't even pass through the Metzi aisle where the diamond was kept. After these 3 interviews, Detective Smith found the thief. Can you tell who it was? It was the visitor. First of all, he knew the exact location of the diamond inside the museum. Plus, take a look at that string he is fiddling with in his left hand. Detective Smith pulled it from under his sleeve and voila! The diamond was attached to it. I guess he didn't have time to go home and get rid of the diamond, huh? Julie and her friends decided to spend the weekend at a cabin in the woods. They arrived on Friday evening and spent the night playing board games and telling spooky stories. When they woke up on Saturday morning, they found that someone had stolen all their food supply. The door's glass was shattered, but other than that, there were no signs of who could have done it. So, the group decided to search the surrounding woods to see if they could find the culprit. Take a good look at the scene the group stumbled upon, and see if you can find out who took their food. What's that at the upper left corner? Those look like bear footprints, huh? And not just one, but rather an entire family of bears. Oh, and they even left an Oreo wrapper on the ground as evidence. Yep, these grizzlies were the culprits for sure. On a snowy winter afternoon, Dr. Brown was resting in front of the fireplace. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at his window. The hit was so strong that the glass shattered. Dr. Brown stood up just in time to see 3 neighborhood boys running away. They were brothers with the names John Smith, Mark Smith, and Dave Smith. The next day, a paper note was left on Dr. Brown's door. There it was written, "Smith, he threw the snowball." Dr. Brown immediately knew which brother had done it. Can you figure it out too? It was Mark. You see, the note said, "Question Mark Smith. He threw the snowball." But the boys were clever and put a bar instead to test Dr. Brown's detective abilities. A man carrying 2 bags of sand crosses Genovia's border every day on a bicycle. Every time, customs officers stop and search him to see if he's trying to smuggle anything illegal. But the officers can't find any proof that the man is a smuggler. The man laughs and crosses the border successfully, smuggling an item per trip. Can you figure out what he's smuggling? That's easy. He's a bicycle smuggler. He distracts the guards with 2 bags of sand. But every day he is crossing the Genovian border with a new bicycle. Smart guy, huh? Mrs. Pinkface is the world's fastest robber. She works alongside the criminal mastermind Zebra Mask. But Mrs. Pinkface was recently caught and put in jail. She and her partner in crime had already set up a plan in case this happened. Zebra Mask will pass outside the prison fence and send Pinkface a signal. 45 seconds after the signal, he will turn off the electric fence, giving her a few seconds to make her prison break. The thing is, Pinkface doesn't have a clock. She only has a lighter and 2 fuses. The fuses are flammable, and she knows they both burn for precisely 1 minute. They won't burn evenly, so if she cuts them in half, one side might burn for 40 seconds, while the other burns for 20 seconds. How can Pinkface use the fuses to time exactly 45 seconds and make her unique prison break? Here's the key insight. If Pinkface lights the same fuse on both ends simultaneously, it will burn out in precisely 30 seconds. To time the last 15 seconds, she will have to light the second fuse. She can light both ends of the first fuse at the same time to time 30 seconds and light the end of the second fuse. When the first fuse burns out, she'll know 30 seconds of the second fuse is also burnt. So, by lighting the other end of the second fuse, she'll be able to time 45 seconds and make her jailbreak. You just came back from a long holiday trip. You bought a new suitcase to store all the new things you got. But when arriving home, you forgot the code to open it. Luckily, you left yourself a note on your cell phone to help you decipher the code of the lock. 682. One digit is right and in its place. 614. One digit is right but in the wrong place. 206. Two digits are right but both are in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. One digit is right but in the wrong place. What's the 3-digit code? (042). Friday morning started busy in Somerville. The police station got a call saying that a woman had just robbed a bank and was seen entering Sunset Elementary School. The police chief hurried over to the school and found there were 2 teachers present that morning. He immediately knew which teacher was the thief. Can you tell who it was? Take a look at the second teacher's long-sleeve shirt. It has a little bit of cash peeking out of it. She's most certainly the thief. The Apex 18 space station called NASA's headquarters to report a crime. On a recent mission, astronauts recovered a valuable piece of evidence that could prove there was life on Mars. Andy, the mission chief, said he put the piece of rock inside a safe, located in the storage room. The next morning, he went to the storage room to put on his astronaut suit and noticed that the safe was open. And oh no, the rock was missing. NASA conducted an online investigation to find out who the thief was. Paula said she wasn't feeling well the day before, so she spent the day in her room. James said he spent the previous day fixing a broken solar panel outside the spaceship and didn't see anything. Rebecca spent the previous 24 hours talking to NASA's Space Center to resolve a problem. Can you tell who is lying? It's James. If he went outside to check on solar panels, he first needed to go into the storage room to put on his spacesuit. Plus, there's a rock-shaped item in his left pocket. He must be the culprit. Tuesday morning, Amy got a call from her boss, Tom. He was in distress because a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on the desk the evening before, but nowhere to be found in the morning. Amy immediately went there to question the employees. She soon gathered 3 suspects. Elijah said he had spent the previous evening at the movies. Mason had taken his girlfriend to dinner, and Evelyn had visited an art gallery. It didn't take long for Amy to understand who was lying. Why? It was Elijah. Take a close look at his ticket. The date is for Sunday and not the night before. This means he's probably the one lying. Peter was lost in the woods when he encountered an evil magician. The magician cast a spell on him that transported Peter to an empty room inside a huge tower. To make things worse, the evil sorcerer put the tower on fire. The room Peter was in had no doors and only a small window. Thankfully, he found 3 magic potions that could maybe help him escape. If he drank the first potion, he would get incredible physical strength. If he chose the second potion, he could summon any animal he wanted to help him. And if he drank the last potion, he would turn into a vampire. Which potion should Peter choose? Well, No animal could help him escape the tower, and even if he had all the strength in the world, he wouldn't be able to beat the fire. But if he turned into a vampire, then he could transform into a bat and fly away through the little window. So the third bottle it is. Katie got lost in the desert. She walked for hours when suddenly she came across a huge oasis. But to reach the main waterfall, where she could drink some water, she had to cross a bridge. There were 3 bridges leading to the same place. The first bridge was far from the ground, and its rope looked like it could rip at any second. The second bridge had some hungry-looking alligators crawling on it. The last bridge stood above a lake full of poisonous water plants. Which bridge should she choose? The last one. The bridge stands above a poisonous lake, but she won't touch the water when crossing it. Rupert was working in his office when a huge power shortage turned off all the lights in the building. He heard footsteps approaching behind him, and the next thing he knew, he was feeling dizzy. Rupert passed out and woke up in a tiny room that had nothing other than a metallic door. He tried to open the door, but it was locked. He noticed that beside the door, there was a little device where a red sign appeared, asking for a password. Below the device, there was a piece of paper with the following hint: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Rupert read the note aloud several times before he finally figured out what the password was. Can you guess what password he typed into the device? He typed in 1 time the number 2, 3 times the number 4, 5 times the number 6, and 7 times the number 8. Phew, that wasn't obvious, huh? Bill and Jonah found themselves stuck inside the cavern of the Great Genie. There was nothing there but a wall with 3 buttons. There was a red button, a yellow one, and a green. Somewhere on the floor, they found a note that read, TDUPT RNOREHEBSSTE. They clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a hidden door on the wall. Which button did they choose? The red button. They unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." Miss Taylor is the owner of a boutique that produces and sells expensive ceramics. On a Friday, when the working week was almost finished, she went to deposit the day's money inside the safe and was shocked to find out it was all gone. Someone had stolen it. Miss Taylor suspected it should have been one of her workers. She asked each one of them what they had been doing that day. Sloan, a sales manager, said she had been prospecting for new clients. Jake, the potter, said he always made 1 cup a day, and he showed all the cups he had done that week. Lily, the designer, said she had been working, but she also admitted she hadn't been really productive that day because of some family issues. Who lied? Jake. There are 5 working days in a regular week. The man said he made 1 mug a day, but he only showed 4 mugs. It means he missed 1 day of work. Probably the day he used to steal Miss Taylor's money.
Take a look at these 3 teachers in the school canteen. One of them is a vampire. Can you guess who it is? Check out carefully what they eat. The third lady has some garlic, so she can't be a vampire. The second lady has taken a bite of food from her tray, so it's most likely hers. But the first guy's food is still untouched, so he must be just bringing it to someone else. Vampires don't really need food. They feed on blood, so that salad is of no interest to him. The Smiths family, Ginger, Ross, and their kids, Polly and Bob, had a celebration and exchanged gifts. But somehow, all the cards got lost. And since all the gifts were packed in boxes of the same size, the only thing that differs is color. Can you figure out to whom each gift belongs? Ginger, the mother, must get the gifts in green wrapping paper because her name starts with a G. Ross, the father, gets the gifts wrapped in red paper. Polly, the daughter, gets all the pink ones. And Bob, the son, has all the blue gifts, following the same logic. On a winter day, Mike went skiing. Suddenly, he found a secret laboratory hidden in the mountains. It was well guarded, but curious Mike managed to find an open door. Once he got inside, the door got instantly shut and wouldn't open again. There in the lab, Mike saw 3 large barrels, each with different stuff inside. The first barrel was literally on fire. The second one was full of acid, and there was a working electric saw in the third one. All of a sudden, Mike heard a voice. Each of the barrels contains a key that can set you free, but you aren't allowed to move the barrels. Good luck! What did Mike do to escape? Hey, it seems like this lab wasn't well heated. There were a bunch of icicles on the ceiling, so he grabbed them and threw them into the burning barrel. They melted and extinguished the fire, allowing him to grab the key. Lame Horse is the most popular club in town, and lots of people hope to get inside. However, security guards are pretty strict, and all visitors must comply with a set of requirements issued by the club management. Visitors must be over 25. They must wear a total black look, and their name cannot start with an A. Now, look at these 3 people waiting at the entrance, who cannot be let in. Well, look at their IDs closely. We have Ivory, who's 27. She's also dressed according to the rules. Now, here's James. He's 24, and he's wearing a red t-shirt. Out. The last person is Dylan. He's got a total black look, and it seems like he's 30. But his ID is surely fake. How can someone be born on February 31st? So, only Ivory can enter the club. Josh wanted to surprise his girlfriend and buy her a present of her dreams. But he wanted to make it a surprise, so he couldn't ask her what exactly she wanted. He decided to check out her favorites on a website she always used for online shopping. But her laptop asked for a password. Still, Josh managed to unlock it. How did he do it? Look at the sticker on the desk. It looks like a bunch of misspelled words. But each typo actually helps figure out the password. O in laundry, extra I in table, extra I in mice, V in the word answer, and extra E in the word cat. Altogether, it's olive. Chastity, Chris, and Jacob are at the counter near an airport gate. All of them claim they must be on the flight to Houston. But the airline employee says there's only one seat left. The computer has frozen, and he can't check the list of passengers to verify their claims. So he can only check their boarding passes and try to understand which one is real. Can you help him? The only real boarding pass belongs to Chastity. Look, the one that Chris has mentions his date of birth, which is never printed on boarding passes. The one that Jacob has doesn't have the flight number, which is almost impossible. Well, welcome aboard, Chastity. Liam was traveling on a train where he met Brian. Now, Brian invited him to have coffee in the dining car, and Liam agreed. For some reason, Liam left the train in terror at the next station without taking his belongings, even though it wasn't his destination. Why? The thing is, on the way to the dining car, Liam spotted something he couldn't see while seated. There was a huge tail visible underneath Brian's coat. He couldn't be a human, and having coffee with him could cost Liam his life. Ew. Ashley decided to change her hairstyle and headed to the nearest hair salon. There were 3 hairdressers available. Which one is safe? Look, the first hairdresser has just finished working with the previous client, and the client is literally crying. The hairstyle is horrendous. The second hairdresser has knives instead of special scissors. She doesn't seem to be safe either. However, the third hairdresser seems completely fine. So, Ashley should pick her. Mary is a beginner gardener. She decided to grow some flowers in her garden, and there are already several sprouts. Yesterday, she watered them as usual, but today she sees that all of her sprouts have perished. Why? Mary should have checked the weather forecast. Yesterday, the sky was covered with gray clouds. It was going to rain. So the flowers got a double portion of water, which is bad too. Mary should have covered her plants instead. It was Jenny's first month at her new school. At the end of the month, she found a note from Barry in her locker. At first, she didn't get its meaning, but when she figured out that it was encrypted, the meaning became clear to her. Take a look at the note. Can you figure out what Barry wrote to Jenny? To decipher the note, you need to understand that the numbers correspond to the placement of the letters in the note. The first letter is I, the second is L, and the 8th is K. Now keep doing this until you decipher the whole thing. The note says, I like you. It looks like Jenny has an admirer. Martha is standing on one side of a river and her cat is on the other. Martha is calling her cat, but you know, those guys aren't into water and swimming in general. However, the cat immediately starts crossing the river without getting wet. There are no boats or bridges. How is it possible? The river is frozen, so the cat can just walk on the ice. In 1890, Bart was 15 years old. Strangely, in 1895, he was 10 years old. How is that possible? The thing is, Bart was born in 1905 BCE. The calendar worked the other way around back then. Linda and Porter were walking in the woods when they saw an old hut. They walked inside, but the door through which they entered suddenly vanished into thin air. Instead, 3 new doors appeared in front of them. Behind the first one, there were venomous rats. Behind the second door, arrows with poison on their tips were flying across the room at head height. And the third door hid a 30-foot deep pit. Which door leads to freedom? They should choose the second door. They don't need to walk, they can simply crawl under the arrows. Pamela met a stranger yesterday, and she immediately knew who he was. She hadn't seen this person before, and no one had ever described him to Pamela. This person wasn't a celebrity, and he wasn't doing anything unusual. How come she knew who he was? The man was Pamela's friend's twin brother. Anna went grocery shopping and bought a lot of products that needed to be stored in the fridge, like meat and cheese. When she returned home, she realized that her fridge was already full, and she had nowhere to store all those products. What should she do? Anna needs to reconsider the way she stores stuff in her fridge. For example, rice and cookies don't need to be kept there. Once she takes all the unnecessary stuff out of the fridge, she'll have enough space to store the dairy products and meat.
You'll have 10 seconds for each of the optical illusions. Your task will be to read the hidden number. You'll go from the easiest to the hardest riddles. Start off with an easy one for warm-up. Told you, it's 784. Moving on. I hope you were able to see the number 5346 here. Level up. How about this one? The correct answer is 725. And another one. Yes, it's 786. Now, only 5% of people can read the next three numbers. Want to give it a go? If your answer is 6012, it's correct. And here's another tricky one. It's 182. And if you saw it, you must have eagle vision. Told you it won't be easy, but try this one. The correct answer is 3708. Let's see how you handle some black and white illusions. And the first one is hiding the number 476. There you go. If that was too simple, how about this one? I hope you guessed it was 86347. And now, let's test your eyes with some hidden words. You still have 10 seconds for each of them. I'm sure you figured out it's the word never. Can you read what this picture says? I can't sleep. How sad. This one is hiding the name of some month. You have to think outside the box to read it. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Well, the secret was to split it in half. Then you can see it's July. How about this one? It's the word run hiding in the back. Another one for you. Hope you found the gold. Here comes a tricky one. It takes some brain power to see its brain. Another one in this category. It's only getting more complicated. If you read the word music between the lines, you must be a genius. Now let's see if you can decipher these secret messages. I give you 10 seconds for this one. Well, if someone says it's just a bunch of letters without meaning, you can easily prove them wrong. What do you see here? The power of imagination makes us infinite. Couldn't agree more. Here's another one. I hope you always desire to learn something useful. You deserve some dessert for all that mental activity. Here's just one cupcake among all those ice cream cones. Try to find it. There it is. Yum. Get a tomato to go. I can only see a bunch of apples, but maybe you'll be luckier here. Found it. There's a butterfly hiding somewhere among those flowers. Do you see it? Fantastic! It's right there. Can you find the one and only pineapple in this image? Great job! One of these colorful leaves is in fact a mushroom. Can you spot it? Well done! How about a safari to give your eyes another test? Do you see anyone hiding in these leaves? Yep, it's a chameleon. And those guys know how to blend with the surroundings. There must be a groundhog hiding somewhere in the rocks. Find it in 10 seconds. Wow, that was neat. One coyote won't do you much harm, but if it brings some friends, better make sure this area is coyote-free. Start looking for a different picnic spot. One of those guys is right here. Watch where you step. I hear there are snakes on the ground. Found one. Better be careful. I don't see anyone roaming in this territory. Let's see if you have sharper eyes. What a beautiful gazelle! Did you manage to find it? The next illusion was created back in 1860. It shows how your brain perceives depth and shapes. So, do you think the black line lines up with the blue one? If you answered yes, you're wrong. In fact, the black line stems from the red line. Now, take a look at these illusions and remember what you see first. It can tell a lot about your personality. If it looks like a mountain to you, you're a down-to-earth person. You're persistent, reliable, and like to plan things. Overcoming obstacles makes you feel really happy. You appreciate stability and don't like to take risks. If you saw the upside-down wolf first, you're a natural leader. You keep your emotions under control even in the most stressful situations. Others admire and respect you for that. Remember, it's okay to ask for help sometimes if you need it. How about this one? If lips caught your eye first, you're realistic and always take things the way they are. You don't look for hidden meaning in what happens to you and what others say to you. It helps you get along with people well. If you notice the trees first, you're an ambitious person and a perfectionist to the core. You're never happy with just okay, and will always strive to be number one and make yourself and others happy. In the case the first thing you saw was the roots, you're an extremely progressive person. You love trying all the new technology and styles. You never settle and always try to make your life better and more exciting. Here comes the next one. If it looks like a parrot to you, you're the soul of any party. You like to be the center of attention, wear something bright, talk loudly, and laugh your heart out. You have plenty of friends who love that about you. If you see a girl in a beautiful long dress, you must be the mysterious artsy type. You prefer to observe others being active and loud and get inspiration for your work. You notice little details and remember them to later put them on your canvas or paper. You have 10 seconds to decide what you see in this illusion here. If it's clearly an image of an elephant and a giraffe, you're a reliable and hardworking person. You feel responsible for yourself and your work and don't like to let others down. People appreciate you for that and share their secrets with you. If you saw some rabbits between the trees, you're not as simple as you might seem. You always think before you say or do something. You have a strategy for every life situation. It's important to you to be accepted and loved by others, so you do a lot to please them. New illusion, same task. If you see just two horses crossing a waterfall, you're an adventurous person. When someone offers trying something new or going to a new place, you're always up for it. You realize you might not like it in the end, but you'd rather try it and be sad than regret not going. In case you noticed several faces first, you always see the big picture and can find the right decision quickly. You know what you want and how to get there and never reconsider your own choices. These qualities will take you far in your career. Moving on. What a beautiful landscape, but is it hiding something? If all you see here is some sea and rocks, you're a calm and balanced person. Sometimes you're in a bad mood, but you always look on the bright side of life and move on. If you also noticed some animals drawn on the rocks, you have a great eye for detail. You always listen to both parties in a conflict before taking sides. You like doing research and drawing logical conclusions. All right, what does this one say to you? In case you're positive it's a portrait of a young girl, you're an extrovert and can't survive a day without people. You're active on social media and enjoy going to social events where you can make even more friends. If you see some horses and birds, you're more of an introvert. You love being alone outside. You have some great friends, but you appreciate your personal space. Those who see the face and the horses at once, you've got the best of both worlds. You feel comfortable at a party with a few hundred new people around and alone reading a book. What can you say about this illusion? Those who see a face of a woman, you're realistic and pretty content with your life. You don't expect too much from others and are ready to stand your ground if you have to. If you see a saxophone player, you often prefer your imaginary world to the real one. In your dreams, you have turned your favorite hobby into a career. Try doing that in real life. What are your thoughts on this one? If it's clearly an older man to you, you've always been wiser and more reasonable than others your age. That's why people often ask you for advice, and you enjoy helping them out. If you see a young girl and an older man in the arch, you'll always be a child at heart. Your family means the world to you, and you always ask them for advice and protection. Let's see if you know famous logos well. I removed the names from all of them. How many do you think you can recognize? Let's start with some easy ones. You must have this one on your phone. What is it? This is Instagram, of course. It's the fourth most popular social media platform in the world with over 1 billion active users. Here comes the next one. I bet you get childhood flashbacks now. But what's this castle? It's a bit old school, but I'm sure you managed to recognize it. It's Walt Disney Pictures. Do you remember whom this sign belongs to? This is Batman, of course. Who's your favorite superhero? You must know this one. So do you have an answer? Of course, it's Tesla. Just 2 circles, but I'm sure you know it, and you probably have one. It's MasterCard. Does this one ring a bell? Gamers will know instantly though. This is Xbox. Moving on, what's this sign? It's Toyota, a popular Japanese car brand. Do you still ever watch TV? If so, you should have no problem recognizing this one. It's Cartoon Network, a TV channel. What do you think this is? I have a thing for Japanese cars today. It's Mitsubishi. Moving on from car brands, what is this company? It's Chanel's logo. By the way, Coco isn't Chanel's real name. Her real name is Gabrielle Chanel. Coco was her childhood nickname. When you see it, you know you'll definitely enjoy the next 2 hours. What is it? Of course, it's the Warner Brothers logo. So many great movies. Looks very familiar, but what exactly is it? It's Sprite. It's the 5th best-selling soft drink on the market. This one is way harder to recognize, so I'll give you a hint. It's a soft drink too. Yeah, right, it's Dr. Pepper. It's the 6th best-selling drink, going right after Sprite. Another way to spend a great evening. What is this company? It's DreamWorks. What about this purple logo? It's Yahoo! I don't think there's a person out there who doesn't know what this is. It's Hogwarts logo, the school of witchcraft and wizardry from the Harry Potter universe. Back to our non-magical world. What's this company? It's Amazon. The company started out in 1995 as a garage bookstore, by the way. Do you know what this is? It's the PlayStation logo. Does this one ring a bell? It definitely should. It's Monopoly. Also, for some reason, this game has thousands of special editions. Huh? What's that song? Ask Shazam. Even if you're not a gamer, you can probably recognize this. It's The Sims, a life simulator game that was a real hit in the 2000s. It's a new logo, but I think you must know it by now. It's Meta. It's the new name of Facebook Incorporated. They own Instagram and WhatsApp too. Not as popular as Facebook, but you might know this app, or ask someone from Gen Z. It's Discord, a messenger. Originally, it was used by gamers, but now there's more users building their communities of interests. Okay, what's this? Yeah, I'm back to car brands again. This is Ferrari. Can you recognize this sign and to whom it belongs? It's Wonder Woman. If you're a traveler, you know it all too well. It's Airbnb, an online marketplace for lodging. It's a bit old school, but still everyone's favorite. That's Discovery Channel. It's pretty hard, but you know it very well, I'm sure. It's Walmart. What do these two letters stand for? It's Baskin-Robbins, a worldwide ice cream brand. Even without the name, it's still recognizable. So, what do you say? It's Doritos. A tricky one. I'll give you a little hint. It has to do with clothes. It's Jack Wolfskin, a German manufacturer of quality outdoor clothes. Not so mainstream, but you've seen it a million times. That's Nestle. You must love all things luxury if you have one of those. That's Rolex, a Swiss watch designer. Can you recognize this logo? That's Tommy Hilfiger, an American clothing brand. What about this one? It might seem hard, but I'm sure you'll know it. That's Nintendo Switch. What does this O stand for? This is Opera, a web browser. For fellow oldies, this brings back so many memories. It's ICQ, and if you're from Gen Z, it's a messenger. That's what we used in the olden dinosaur days before Discord, or even WhatsApp was invented. What is this panda bear? World Wildlife Fund, or WWF. That's an international non-governmental organization working on preserving wildlife. You should know it well if you travel a lot. Toblerone, known by many as the airport chocolate. Do you know what this company is? It's the logo of the World Health Organization.
Elsa was 17 years old the day before yesterday. Next year, she'll turn 20.
Yay.
How come? It's possible if the present day is January 1st, while Elsa's birthday is on the 31st of December. The day before yesterday, on December 30, she was still 17 years old. Yesterday, on the 31st of December, she turned 18. Thus, this year, Elsa turns 19 and next year 20. Elsa and her sister Helga explore an old attic in their parents' house. It's very dark and dirty. After that, they go downstairs to have some lunch. Helga's face is all covered with dust, while Elsa's face is super clean. But still, only Elsa goes to the bathroom to wash her face. Why? Elsa noticed that her sister's face was dirty, so she thought her face must be dirty too. As for Helga, she saw that Elsa's face was clean and assumed that her own face was clean too. After lunch, Elsa and Helga go for a walk across an enchanted forest. They reach the riverbank, but the bridge is closed for repairs. The sisters notice two dwarfs fishing in a boat near the bridge. They agree to help the sisters, but their boat is very tiny. It can fit either one sister or two dwarfs. Luckily, they manage to solve this issue. Elsa and Helga cross the river on the same boat. How? Well, first of all, one of the dwarfs brought his fellow on the opposite bank. Then he headed back for the sisters alone. Helga got into the boat and crossed the river. She gave the second dwarf the boat, and he returned to the opposite bank. He picked his fellow dwarf and brought him to Helga. Then one of the dwarfs swam to Elsa and passed the boat to her. She crossed the river and joined Helga, and finally, the second dwarf returned to his fellow. Helga and Elsa keep on walking and get lost in the forest. There are 3 roads to the nearest town. The first route is filled with mutant plants which feed on humans. The second path leads through an ice cave with a hungry dragon frozen inside a huge ice cube. The third route leads through a village of fairies. Their magic makes humans lose their minds. Which way is safe? Well, the dragon is trapped inside the ice cube, so it's not that dangerous. Finally, the sisters reach the town. They're walking down the main street. Suddenly, someone throws an orange right at Helga's head. Elsa identifies the apartment from which the fruit fell out and goes there to complain. She knocks, and a young man opens the door right away. Elsa explains that her sister was hit by an orange that fell from his window. But the guy says, "I was washing my dog when you knocked. Only me and my pet live here, so you confused the floors." But Elsa didn't believe him. Why? According to the man, he was bathing his only pet, but the dog's hair is dry. Therefore, his story is fake. Elsa and Helga enter the local home decor shop. Helga takes a picture of her sister standing in front of the mirror. Can you spot anything odd in this photo? Take a closer look at the mirror. Elsa's hands are reflected wrong, as well as the sale poster behind her. She must be a vampire. Just kidding. The sisters continue exploring the shop, but suddenly Elsa begins to scream and runs away. That's because one of these ladies is not alive. Can you guess who? The first woman is an ordinary human. There's a mirror behind her. The third lady has a painting of herself in the background. And the second lady, who's looking over her shoulder, is a phantom. Her reflection in the mirror doesn't match the reality. Elsa decides to hide in a building nearby. Surprise! It's a pet shop. Elsa wanders around it and spots one weird detail. Can you see it too? The turtle is wearing sunglasses. The locals tell Elsa and Helga about a creepy werewolf who has been scaring the citizens for several weeks. They only know that this werewolf is a lady and she has a husband. He's the only person who can calm her down. Elsa finds 3 suspects who might be the werewolf's husband, but none of them admits it. Can you find him? He's the second guy. There are suspicious brownish hairs on his clothes, although his own hair is blonde. The next day, Helga has a birthday party. Elsa goes to the bakery to purchase a cake for her. She's late, so she rushes over and bumps into a waiter. Elsa hits her head and forgets what cake Helga asked her to buy. She remembers just 3 things. It shouldn't have any green elements, the cake frosting shouldn't include more than 1 color, and it must have at least 1 berry. Can you help Elsa find the correct cake? Elsa should take the 4th cake. It's a chocolate cheesecake, so it doesn't have anything green. The glazing is brown and is decorated with cherries. A perfect match. Elsa buys the cake and leaves. The bakery is located inside the highest tower in town. Elsa enters the elevator to go down, but she hits the wrong button and finds herself on the roof. She decides to take some pictures with the iconic huge clock installed at the top of this tower. Oops! Elsa drops her phone from the roof. She decides to leave, but someone has already locked the door, and the elevator won't work, so she's trapped on the roof. Luckily, Elsa can still change the time of the clock. What time should Elsa set on the clock to make someone notice and rescue her? If she sets 5:05 on the clock, it'll look like an SOS signal. Finally, Elsa escapes from the tower and heads to the parking lot. Here's her car. Can you figure out the number of the place where it's parked? '87. Elsa arrives home. Helga shows her vacation photos sent by her new boyfriend, Kyle. In this case, you can see Kyle, his friend Bob, and a humanoid robot, Neo. Neo is standing next to Bob. A person wearing the yellow mask is not a man. What color is Kyle's mask? According to the terms, only the third guy can be Kyle, so his mask is blue. The birthday party is going well. It's almost midnight, so Elsa goes to the kitchen and adds candles on the birthday cake. Suddenly, she remembers that the only lighter in the house is upstairs in her room. She leaves the cake at the table for a minute. Then Elsa returns and sees the cake smashed all over the floor.
Oh, no.
She questions 3 suspects. Lauren says, "I was in the living room all night. I don't know who did it." Wendy says, "I went outside to watch the full moon. It's so beautiful tonight." Kyle says, "I was shooting a TikTok dance with Helga." Who ruined the cake? Wendy, take a look out the window. The moon is not full. Busted. The next morning, Helga wakes up earlier than Elsa and checks her feed. Breaking news: a legendary thief ran away from a nearby prison and now creeps around the town. He's a talented shapeshifter, so no one knows for sure what he might look like. Suddenly, Helga hears someone ringing on the door. She opens and faces two guys who introduce themselves. Bob is a gardener from a nearby park, and Peter is a garbage man. Both guys want to use a bathroom, so they ask Helga to let them in. But only one of them is safe to invite over. Can you guess who? Bob is wearing clothes with red stains, but he's also holding a brush, so he was probably just painting a fence. Let's take a closer look at Peter's facial hair. One mustache has come unglued. It's fake. So he must be the runaway criminal from the news.